Hello everybody and welcome to Birdsnest Designs. Welcome to my craft studio. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Today's card that I want to share with you is a really beautiful Z fold using the cup of tea bundle. So here's the card here. I love a simple Z fold and I love this product suite. So the stamps that we're using is the cup of tea. And it comes with the adorable, amazing teacup dies. So here I have them on my magnetic sheet. So this is a brand new suite from the annual catalog that just was released at the beginning of the month. And it is one that you will want to add to your collection. I've already shown it at least once since it came live in May. And I know you're going to see it lots more because it's so fun and it's such a beautiful, beautiful set. The designer series paper that comes with it is out of this world. It's 6x6, which initially I was a little bit disappointed with the idea because I love to scrapbook, but it is so pretty and there's so many patterns and I just love it. So it's perfect for scrapbooking. It's perfect for card making. And as you can see, it's bright, bold, fabulous colors. So without further ado, let's turn the camera down and let's start stamping and showing you how to create this beautiful Z fold card. Again, thanks for being here watching with me and I hope you enjoy this card. All right, so here we go. Let's create this fun card. So to start with, got my clean working space here. I've got a piece of basic white thick cardstock. So you'd want to use the thick when you're using it as a card base because as the name says, it's thicker, so it's going to help your card stand up better. So this just measures 4 1/4 by 11. So I just cut an 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock piece in half diagonally at the 4 1/4 mark. So now to make a Z fold, we're going to use our score pal, our score tool here, and I'm just going to put it up at the top. Now using my scoring tool, I'm going to score it in half, just like a regular card would, at the 5 1/2 mark here. And then because I want it to fold in half, I'm going to go at 2 3/4, which is going to be half of the 5 1/2. So that's how we're going to create the score marks for our Z fold card. Okay, so now we can go ahead and fold it. So I'm always like to have my bone folder and I'm going to fold it in half. Like so, and then I'll burnish the edges so we get a nice crisp fold, and then I'm going to fold this one back on itself just like that. Okay, so super simple. This is a really easy fun fold, but it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites because it's easy, but it's also very effective and it's a very fun way to create a card. All right, so let me find the pieces that I have already prepped here. So these are the little bits and bobs that we're going to need. So to start with, I've taken a piece out of the gorgeous Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. And I love the nice subtle dots and the nice petal pink coloring in this one. So this just measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it's the full size panel needed to put in the inside and completely cover the back. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue, because it's got a little wiggle room, as I like to say. Once it's down, it's easier to slide it around and tweak it just right. Whereas the Stampin' Seal, which is my go-to adhesive, once it's down, it's really hard to get it to move around. So I'm just gonna place this in place, making sure the corners match up. Okay. There we go. And then I always like to do a little test and I just flip it over, and if there's any excess hanging off that's going to drive me crazy, I would just trim it with my paper trimmer, but this one appears to have come out very well. So that's our first piece. Then we're going to fold it shut as like this, and I'm going to take another piece of designer series paper, again from the gorgeous Tea Boutique paper, and this one measures 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And that one is going to cover the complete panel here on the front. So same thing, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. Take advantage of that little bit of wiggle room. And just going to line up those corners. I'm not measuring them. And make sure this is glued down nicely. And again, you can do the little test to see if there's any overhang that you're going to want to trim off. There's a little bit here, but it's not too bad, so I'm just going to leave it for now. You can always trim it at the end. All right, so there is our Z fold done. Our pretty pattern paper has been adhered to it. So we're ready to go. We're off to the races. So for next thing we're going to do, oh, and I forgot to get a piece of black. So we're going to create a black, basic black piece that's going to go right here. Okay, and the piece of black that we need measures 4 1/4 by 3. So let's just cut that here. So I've got my paper trimmer and I'm just going to put this in at the 3-inch mark. And then I'm going to cut it to 4 1/4, which is just in half when you're using the 8.5-inch edge. Now I have 2 pieces in case I want to create this card again or use it on another piece. So we'll set one aside. So with that basic black piece cut, we're now going to adhere it onto the front of our card like this. And I'm going to actually, oops, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for this one. And I'm going to put the adhesive on the back side, obviously, but I want to make sure that I'm only getting it halfway, because when I adhere it down here, I don't want it to overhang onto the pretty Petal Pink Designer Series paper, because then it will glue my card shut. So I'm just going to double check my adhesive is all covered in behind the white there. There we go. Okay, so there we go. There is our fun Z fold. Now let's talk about the Stamp, Cut, and Emboss machine. So the first thing that I want to do is going to emboss using the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. This is a 3D embossing folder. It says so right on the front here. And it's just a really nice, let me just show you that in the card again, really nice, subtle, embossed feature. So because it doesn't matter, the pattern isn't diagonal or directional in any way, we're just going to throw our paper inside just like that. And then to create the sandwich that we're going to need on our Stamp, Cut, and Emboss machine, we're going to need plate 1. And it says right on here, insert embossing folder hinge first. So that is a tip that I want to make sure I really stress to you guys. It's really good idea to put the hinge first through. It just helps it glide through really easily. So that's tip number 1. And then the second thing it says is using with 3D embossing folders, which we already established is what we have here. All we need to do is put plate 1 and then our folder and then plate 4. Now plate 4 is this guy right here. Okay, so we're going to put number 4 on top here. And then let's see if I can bring this machine into the picture here without too much hassle. So there's my Stamp, Cut, and Emboss machine, and I'm just going to feed this one through here until the handle starts to turn. You guys can't see the handle, but it started to turn on its own. And then I'm just going to wheel it through, and you can see how nicely that's just gliding right on through. Okay, so let's take that off. I'm going to move this off to the side. I'll bring it back in a minute. But here is our beautiful embossed piece. So we can go ahead and attach that right to our card front, like so. And it doesn't matter which direction, which side you put the glue on, because it's got the same effect from both sides with this embossing folder. And on this piece here, so this black one was 4 1/4 by 3. The white piece that we just embossed is 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. So just 1/8 of an inch smaller, so that we just get this nice narrow border all around. Okay, so let's put that aside once again. And now I just need a scrap piece for some stamping. And then I've got this little piece here which measures 1 inch wide by 2 1/8. And that's going to be to stamp our sentiment. So the ink colors we're going to use today are Tuxedo Black. So this is the Memento ink. We're going to use crushed curry and we're going to use garden green. First things first, let's start with this beautiful image here, which is this gorgeous one right there. And we're going to do some second generation stamping using garden green. And if you don't know what that is, it's okay. I'm going to show you right now. So second generation is just stamping or inking once, stamping twice. So we're going to get this nice and inky, if that's a word. And we're just going to stamp that once, like we usually would. And then we're going to lift it up, move it over, and stamp it again. This is the second generation stamping. So we get a nice light shade. Okay, now with the garden green still, we're going to use this one here. So this is this little guy here. And we're going to stamp 2 of them. And this one we're going to stamp fully inked both times. And I'm going to space these out, and you'll see why when we get to cutting them out. So we've got 2 of those guys. Now we're done with the garden green, so let's put that off to the side. Okay, so now let's get our crushed curry. And we're going to use this darling little single flower right here. So we can see there's a cluster of flowers up here. This is just a single one. So we're going to get that, and we're going to ink it up onto our paper here 3 times. Again, I'm giving them lots of room in between. Okay, so we're done with the crushed curry. And now with the tuxedo black, let's stamp our sentiment. So I love this one, take care of yourself. Such a nice sentiment, and the font is absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love a nice fun scripty font. There we go. All right, our stamping is complete. So that was fun, getting a little ink to paper. Now we're going to do some die cutting. So again, with our Stamp Cut and Emboss machine, I am going to now show you the wonderful new magnetic platform. So this platform is just brand new in this annual catalog, and it's numbered 5. So to do this sandwich, you need to do number 1, which is your base plate, then number 5, then your paper. Oh, we're not die cutting that one. We are going to die cut these 2 though. So I'm going to layer these up together and just place them down here. Okay, so now we'll get our dies, and because this plate is magnetic, it's going to stick where we put them. And what's beautiful about this plate is that it's magnetic all the way across. So some of the magnetic platforms in the past have just had spots of magnet, and then your things are jumping everywhere, and it's enough to drive you crazy. But this one's beautiful. It's magnetic through and through, and it sticks exactly where you leave it. So we'll just line that up. And then this is a little tricky. We just got to line this flower up. Let's see if I can, that looks lined up to me. Is that the right way? Oh, maybe not. You just kind of got to twist it. I had it figured out, and then now I've clearly lost it. Here we go. This is going to be it. Last time's a charm, right? Nope, not quite. Don't tell me I had it right to begin with. There we go. Okay, so that's that one. Now, thank you, Stampin' Up, because they've given us 2 dies for this beautiful flower, because how often would you actually only do it once? So look at that, first time. I love it. They've done the same thing with this pretty little leaf here. They've given us 2 dies, which is why I stamped them so far apart, because then I can have lots of room to put the dies. There we go. So those are all nicely lined up. We've got our number 1, our number 5, and then we just need 1 of our number 3. Oh, what is on here? Okay, so we're going to put 1 number 3 plate down, like so. And then we'll slide this off. We'll bring this die cut machine back in again, and we're going to just slide it in. You notice I'm going from the other side. It really doesn't matter which side you use on this machine. And handle there. If you hear that cracking, that's totally normal. Don't panic. Okay. So we've cut out our two beautiful little teacups with one cut, which I love. And then we can just peel that off, and these stay in place, which is another lovely thing. Okay, so the only thing we have left to do is one single flower and this one more big leaf. So let's just get those situated on here. There we go. Something tells me I'm going to find a way to mark that so that I can find it easily. I know these are dies I'm going to be using time and time again, so I want to make sure that it's nice and easy. So I'm not going to bring it in again, but you saw how I did it the first time, so we're just going to do the same thing, wheeling it through the machine. And there we go. We have all our perfectly cut die cuts. All right, so now we get to do some super fun assembling of this pretty little card. I'm just gonna have a drink of my coffee here. Okay, so to assemble the card, we're gonna need Stampin Dimensionals, both minis and regulars. And we're gonna need some baker's twine. This is the beautiful new in color package of all 5 colors. It's available in the catalog for $21 Canadian. You do, like I mentioned, you get all 5 beautiful colors. And what else are we going to need? Some pearls. We're going to need some of the Pearl Basic Jewels. These are one of my favorites. They've been in the catalog forever and I love them. I hope they never go away. Those and the basic rhinestones are just a go-to for sure. All right, let's put this together. So we want to stack our teacups. So this is how I kind of want them to look. First thing I'm going to do is take some Stampin Dimensionals. So I'm going to take 2 of them. And I'm going to hold the red one down and peel this pink one out. I love that gingham pattern. And I'm going to put 2 dimensionals near, just below the halfway mark on my teacup. And then we'll put our red teacup again where we want it. And then I'm just going to lift it up and slide this one in until it's where I want that one to be. And I do want them to be a little bit crooked because teacups never line up perfectly when you're stacking them. So there's our teacups. Now to put the red one on, I'm going to put 1 Stampin' Dimensional here at the top. And the reason is that one is going to go on top of the pink. So in order to make it level, I'm going to double bump. Okay, so by double bump, I mean I put 1 dimensional on, peeled it off, and then I'm going to put another one directly on top of it and peel that one off. So that in my world is double bumping. Okay, so we're going to then attach that where we want it onto our pink cup. So there, that's our stacked teacups. Next thing we want to do is attach our big pretty green leaves here. So they're going to come out of the top cup like that. I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue on the lighter colored one. So this is our 2nd generation stamped one. Just a little bit at the bottom, and then I'm just going to tuck it in. That is why I only put the glue, or the dimensional, sorry, on the bottom of the cup, because I want to be able to lift this up. Okay, so now we have the darker one, and on the back of that, I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals really close together. Peel them off, and the reason they're really close together is so that when I stick it in here, those are not going to go beyond the white piece and then again worry about them sticking onto the pink. Okay, if you wanted to, you could always tuck in a dimensional. So what I do when I do that is peel it off both sides, and then I just sort of stick it in there, put it down. And that way it's a little bit more secure, but it had me lots of wiggle room to get those in. Using mini dimensionals now, let's switch to that. I'm going to pull out my take a pick tool. I pick up one of these pretty flowers and I'm going to stick the dimensional to the back. Oops. Maybe that's not going to work. Okay, we'll do that with the next one. We're just going to tuck that one in there. So we've got a dimensional. We're going to put it on the back of this guy here. Peel it off. That one can go right there. Now we're going to attach our sentiment over here. And again, I'm going to use Stampin Dimensionals. If you've watched any of my videos or you've crafted with me in real life, I love dimensionals, aka Bumpets. They're my favorite. I love lots of dimension and lots of layers to my creations. I quite often find these little dimensional backings stuck all over my house, on my puppies, everywhere. And it just makes me giggle because I use them all the time. Okay, so let's pick up one of these guys. I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue. This glue is amazing because you really don't need very much of it. And we're gonna just tuck this one under here like that. So what I'm being mindful of is my last flower, I want it to go right in here where that space is between the Y and the S. So when I'm tucking in these little green leaves, I want to make sure that I'm leaving room for that flower. So again, let's just do a little dab of glue. That was a little chintzy, so we'll put that in like that. Okay, so now we'll attach that yellow flower. And I'm going to do that by putting one really close to the bottom of one of these petals. And then sticking that down so that the dimensional is touching the embossed white piece there. Okay, so just a couple more steps to finish off this card. First, because they're right here, let's add our, see what I mean about these things everywhere? So we're going to use the Take a Pick tool. I love this part with the putty end. And you can just slide these pearls off and stick them where you want them. So I used to always fuddle with these with my fingernails, trying to get them off, or my scissors. This tool is a game changer. So if you don't have that, you're gonna wanna head on over to my online store and add it to your cart right away because it seriously, it's the best tool ever. All right, last thing, let's put some baker's twine on here. So this is the Sweet Sorbet. Love this new in color. And we are going to just take a little snippet of it. And we're going to tuck it through the handle of our teacup. Okay. And then very gently I'm going to tie a bow. So when I do this part, I'm not pulling it super tight because I don't want to tear the ribbon. And then I'll loop it around, pull it through. And then we can just kind of pull these little tails till we adjust it to what we like. Perfect, there we go. So there is our super sweet Tea Boutique Z-fold card. So thank you so much for being here and crafting with me today. I hope this card has inspired you to either stamp along and make it with me or pull out your supplies and try one of your own. All of the supplies used today can be purchased on my online store. I will put links to that on the description of this YouTube video, so you can find everything you need there. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy crafting, and I'll see you again real soon. Cheers.